So if you take yourself to lying down on your stomach, we're going to start just lying down on the belly. And to do the activation, what we want to do is just press the hip into the floor, activate the glute, lift the leg and just reach the foot away. Now you want to keep both of your hips nice and level as you do this. So you should feel the muscle getting strong when you do this and bring it down. And we do the same on the other leg. So really squeeze your bum as you lift your leg up. So lifting and squeezing and reaching away with the foot, bringing it down, lifting and squeezing and reaching away with the foot. So we do a couple of these just lifting up straight, and you can relax your head. You don't need to be holding your head up, and you really want to contract the glute. So you should see that's a relaxed glute, that's contract. So I'm doing both at the same time here, but you want one at a time contracted as you lift. And then once we've done a few of those, we're going to try to change the contraction a little. So change where we feel the contraction. So we're going to do a little external rotation of the foot. So if you turn your foot out the ways and then lift, and you should feel that you get the contraction a little bit higher up when you do that. So you externally rotate the feet and then do one at a time, and you should really feel this. Now this, if you didn't get the activation on the last one, this should recruit a little bit more of your glute medius and your glute minimus, so the smaller glute muscles that are a little higher up and a little deeper. So you should really feel this. And just lifting one after the other, relaxing the head. Let it go. So you should feel now that you've had a little bit of activation on your glutes, feel like there's a little bit of a burn. So we're going to move now into doing some of our gluteal exercises. So we will start going into all fours for the next one. So bringing the hands onto the mat, making sure that the wrists are stacked under the elbows, which are stacked under the shoulders, making sure that you stack your knees underneath your hips, align your heels with your knees. So nice all fours position. And we're going to keep the hips level as they are, and we're going to bring the right leg up so that the heel is reaching out, and keep the foot flexed. And then we're just going to lift the foot up, but try to keep the hips in one line as you do this. So you don't want to open the hip, you want to keep both hips in this same line, and you're squeezing the bum in order to lift that leg. So squeezing the glute to get the leg up. So we do a few of these and really feel the squeeze on your glute. Should hurt a little, not too much. And bring that knee down. Just get your all fours again, and then go the other side. So keeping the hips in one nice straight line, we're going to squeeze the glutes to lift the leg. And you'll probably notice that there's a little bit of a difference between one side and the other. And this, everything feels a little tighter on this side for me. So squeezing and bringing it down. And now we're going to go for similar but slightly different. We bring the leg out straight, and this time we're going to bend the knee, and we're going to squeeze with the knee bent. So this takes the hamstrings out of it, so it's a little bit harder. You should really feel this. So as though you're kicking up towards the ceiling, and you're trying to keep the hips level. So you're trying to make sure that you're not opening the hip as you do this. The movement is coming from the glute squeezing, and it's the glute squeezing that's lifting the leg up. And it's hard. Bring the knee down, we go for the other one, bring the leg straight, bend the knee, and then squeeze on the glute to lift the leg up. Ah, it hurts. It shouldn't hurt badly, but you should feel your glute starting to burn a little, particularly if your glutes are a little weak like mine. So reaching, and take yourself down into child's pose for a little rest. So you can take a few breaths in child's pose. I'm going to bring myself up and round, and we're going to move into another little exercise. So those exercises we've done, they're pretty much, we've activated the glutes, and then we've done just a little bit of work. Now you'll feel it. If you have weak glutes, you'll really feel it. You should feel a bit of a burn. If you don't feel any burn in your glutes, then I would say keep trying and try to make sure that your hips are level. You can put like you can do this over, for example, if you have like a chair maybe is a little bit too high, but if you have like a footstool that's a little bit low and you can place your body over it, and you could try with your body lie on the side of your bed and then try to get the leg up with keeping both hips on the bed. That's very good if you feel that you're opening the hip, and if you want to just kind of really feel that gluteal activation, even just lying flat on your bed. But it's really, really important that you don't lift the hip when you're making the movement. So we're going to move to doing some half bridges, or glute bridges as you might know them. And for that we're going to lie flat on the back, and we're going to lift the hips up into the sky. So first coming down, lying nice and flat and bringing the heels underneath the ankles. And then we're going to press into the feet and roll the hips upwards. So you might remember we did some of these when we were doing our functional exercises. Now, if you feel like your knees are falling out here, you can actually place a yoga block or a book or something between your knees so that you're kind of holding the knees in the same position. You don't want to be splaying the knees out. You want to keep them where they are. And the really important thing is when you come up, you want to get your body into a straight line. So you need to completely extend at the hip. So you don't want the glutes to be down, you want them to be squeezed, and you want the hips to be all the way up. So whenever you come into this position, this is your glute bridge. Now you should feel a really good activation on the hips here. Just make sure that you're pressing into the feet to get the hips up, and you want to keep the hips up there nice and high. Now, from this position, there's very many different things that we can do. We're just going to start with lowering and raising. So just taking the glutes down and reaching them up. And when you come up, really squeeze your bum really tight at the top. You should really feel a really good squeeze on the glutes as you lift. So little gentle contraction on the pelvic floor as you're doing this, nothing too strenuous, and try to keep the knees in the same position as you're moving, and make sure that you're getting the hips all the way up. Don't shortchange yourself by only coming up a little bit. Really push all the way until you have a really tight squeeze at the top. So let's just do a few of those and bring it down. And then here you can just bring the legs, windscreen wipers, to one side and the other. I like to call this a little butt massage, free butt massage. I do this in all of my yoga classes. I think it's a really nice thing to do because you're rolling on the glutes. And if you've just made them burn, this will make them feel really nice. Slowing it down and come back to the center. So we can do more glute bridges with an extended leg, for example, or we can just do one-legged glute bridges where we put one leg up and we lift. But if you're doing anything that involves just lifting a leg or just putting one leg up, you have to make sure that when you come up, you're not moving the hips in any which direction. You have to keep the hips level and keep them both going up at the same time. So if you're doing anything that involves movement of the leg when you're in this position, you want to just make sure that you keep the hips level. But we're not going to do that today because I think the glute bridges are tough enough on their own for now. The other thing that you can do when you start to get a little bit more strength in your glutes, you can buy like little sandbag weights and put them on your hips as you do your glute bridges. You can also work with putting your feet up on a height so that you're basically extending the distance that your hips have to rise off the floor, so you're giving your glutes a little bit more work. But what we've done today, I think that's sufficient for now. Keep working. Consistency is what builds strength.